And we're live. Welcome to another edition of RockSim Live. It's Happy Pi Day 3.14. So, or happy birthday to my sister, Marsha. She's born on Pi Day. Yeah, it's time for some pizza pie, maybe tonight, I hope. Who knows? So, what are you doing on Pi Day? This is RockSim Live, and I have the chat going on. So, tell me in the chat, what are you doing for Pi Day? Um, Terry Wheelock is here, and he's from Texas. Purple Haze, and that's David. He says he's still in Florida, so he must be a snowbird. Stuart LaFond is here from Vermont, and he says they're launching tomorrow, but it's too windy, so they're going to scrub. And Chris is Rocketry and More from Golden Valley, Arizona. Some of the regulars are here, so thank you for coming. Thank you for being with us and sharing your afternoon here with me on this Pi Day. This is RockSim Live, where we're supposed to be talking about RockSim, RockSim Pro, and the launch visualizer. So if you have any questions about how to use any of those, go ahead and put them in the comments right now. And if you're watching on replay, just put them in an email and send them to us. I do have one question that came in by email today from Rick DeFossis, and I'll get to that question in a minute. Showing you a new rocket kit here. This one comes out on Tuesday, and as you can see, it's called the Arc Stratus, and it has a familiar shape to it. You know, it has this clear plastic nose cone, BT60, a clear plastic tube, BT60 nose cone, which is Estes' designation for 1.64 inches in diameter. And then it necks down to a 1.3 inch tube down here, has a plastic transition. This kind of shape kind of reminds you of the old Estes Lodestar that's been discontinued for a while. So we kind of revived it, and we're calling it the Arc Stratus. Now, the Lodestar had different fins on it, and it was shorter. It was actually about 9 inches shorter. So if you stood this up, it would only come up to about here. So we decided to make it longer, make it more stable. The big change is we put 24 millimeter motors in the back for both the booster stage and the sustainer stage. So it is a two-stage rocket, and it separates in the middle. Let me put it back together. It has this nifty laser cut. We call it a trapezoid section, but it basically allows everything to line up so your fins are perfectly aligned when you put it together. Unlike the Lodestar, this does have engine clips in it, so you can swap out motors really quick. You don't have to tape them in. It is also gap staging, so down here, there's a tiny hole that allows the ejection charge gases, allows to push those cold gases out so that the hot gases can get through to ignite the upper stage. The other big change, the Lodestar, the fin shapes were different. So the fin shape was definitely different. They were long and skinny, and one of the problems with the Lodestar was every time you launch it, the fins would bust off. So we made them smaller, and to do that, we had to make it longer to make it stable. But we also made the fins out of basswood, so they are really strong. Also, it's through the wall fins, so they'll have a really hard time knocking these things off because it's not only basswood, but it's through the wall fins. Since it's a bigger rocket and using bigger motors, we recommend flying it off of a mid-power launch pad. So this has 1/4 inch diameter launch lugs in it, so that it can fly off those mid-power pads. So this is the Arc Stratus, and it will be available on Tuesday of next week. So today is the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. March 18th, it will be available starting at midnight. Maybe not midnight, maybe 9 a.m. because I have to turn it on the website. Everything's done. We're ready to go. They're packaged up. So we are definitely launching this rocket on Tuesday, March 18th. So if you want one, yeah, come to our website. There's no pre-order form, but I'll remind you. We'll put it in our newsletter. Next week is a video newsletter. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, man, you got to subscribe. Let me show you how to do that. Let me switch screens here. So this is our website. And then this right up here is a scrolling banner bar. And this one right here says sign up for our free newsletter. It's now 50 free plans. We've upped the bribe to get you to sign up for our newsletter, and you'll only be on the newsletter list and for new announcements and things like that. The newsletter comes out once a week on a Tuesday, and it always contains something, we call it a how-to stuff, like how to build rockets. See, our last newsletter was on Tuesday, and if you wanted to see what that one was, this was issue number 647. So we've been doing this newsletter now for over 24 years. And in issue number 647, it was about computational fluid dynamics. So if you wanted to do something weird on your rocket, like use a launch guide, and what this article did was comparing rail buttons versus launch guides versus launch lugs, and which one has the lowest drag. And the results are going to surprise you. I'm not going to give it away. You got to download it. But if you go back to our website, hit that subscribe button here to sign up, and then you'll just automatically get notified. Next week, we will be doing a video, and I've shot the video yesterday, and we're going to talk about spill holes in parachutes in that video. So check that out. Again, subscribe to that newsletter. It's really great information. Where am I? So if you are brand new to this channel, this is the Apogee channel, but we do a live stream on a Friday afternoon, and we're going to change the date. And I haven't decided what date yet, but it's going to be kind of a fast change because my Fridays are getting kind of full. So I need to move it out of a Friday. But anyway, every Friday we've been doing RockSim Live. And if you scroll down on our page and you click on this banner right here, or the image, it will take you to our archives, where we talk about the archives is a listing of all the other episodes that we've had. And so this is episode 196. The last one in our archive was 195, and that was last Friday. Here's the link to it and what we talked about it. We talked about simulating a glider and a booster, importing open rocket files and step files and exporting step files. What's new in RockSim Pro. We released a new version of RockSim Pro about 2 weeks ago. And it's like, I've been playing a lot with it because it's fun. So we talked about those new features. So you can go to this episode and just click on the timestamp here, and it will take you right into the video at YouTube where we talk about those new features. If you have never used RockSim before, you can go to the How-To and Guides menu, come down here to Software, and then right here you can download a free trial of RockSim 11. There's video tutorials on how to use it over here. There's other information. You can check that out. So that is kind of a synopsis of where to get RockSim and what you can do with it. You can check out the system requirements and the version history. And again, we released that new version of RockSim Pro a couple weeks ago. So RockSim and RockSim Pro are two different programs. RockSim Pro is like the high-end program, but it does a lot more. It does 6 degrees of freedom. It has the 3-dimensional launch visualizer in it. And so when we released a new version of RockSim Pro, it's a no-cost upgrade to RockSim Pro, because RockSim Pro is a monthly subscription. So whenever we release a new version, it's just automatically sent out to those people that have it. So you don't have to pay an upgrade fee once you're on RockSim Pro. In RockSim, it's a standalone program, and it's a one-time fee. So when there's upgrades, you do have to pay for those upgrades. So we did a paid upgrade from version 10 to a version 11, and that was last year, I believe, where we changed, and we actually lowered the price, which was kind of nice for people. So if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat. I got the chat going here on a separate monitor. Looking for questions to come in. Like I said, we had one question come in via email, and I had a holdover question from last week that I never got to. So I said I would try to do that one. And that question was about if you have a problem in RockSim with your motors not showing up in your database. So what do you do with that? And this is a weird issue because it's like it's not on everybody's computer. It's only on some people's computers. So some people are more lucky than others. So if they're not showing up, let us know what computer you're using and what operating system. We know it's Windows, not Mac. And we've had some people report that they're using HP computers. I don't know if that's a difference, but something is odd, and their motors aren't showing up. So, like, how do you get them back? So here on this page, you go to How-To and Guides, come down to Software. It says there's a link to loading missing motors back into RockSim. If you click on that, there's this video that kind of takes you where the motors are stored. And I'm going to show you here. So I'm going to open up a Finder window on my computer. Oops, don't do that. Okay, so here's a Finder window. So you're going to go to your computer. And you want to go to... let's try home. I should see the name of this computer here somewhere. How come I'm not seeing it? Production files, Windows. This computer has a name. I don't know what the name of it is, and I can't find it. But the first thing you want to do is you go to the View menu right here and come down to Show, and we want to show hidden items. When you do that, then you want to go to this PC, Windows. Okay, then you want to come down to Users, find the name of your computer. Now, my name of the computer is TSVM. So I'm going to click on that, open that up. Then you're going to go to App Data. Now, if you're not showing the hidden items, that won't show up here. So you have to show hidden items, and then it will show up this folder called App Data. So then you're going to open that up, and you're going to go into Local, and then go to Apogee Components, and then it's in here. And your computer may have different folders on it depending on what versions of RockSim you've had loaded on this computer. Now, on my computer here, I've loaded everything, going back to RockSim 9. But my latest one is RockSim 11. And then if you open up the data folder, this is where all the rocket motors are stored. And you can, .rse stands for RockSim Engine. You might also see some that say .eng, like this one right here. That's the old RASP format. RockSim can read in both formats. The RockSim format stores more data than the old RASP format, so that's kind of why there's two. We're hoping that one day the RAS format will just kind of go away, but for now, RockSim can read them. It just doesn't store all the data that is possible. So this folder under users, the name of your computer, app data, local, Apogee components, RockSim_11 data stores not only the engine files, but it will also store parts databases. And like this is a parts database, and these are Microsoft Excel CSV files. CF stands for, I'm not sure what the CF stands for, but there will be some like LL stands for launch log data. See what others in here. Here's the materials database. NC is nose cone data. I can't remember what PC stands for, but if you open it up, you could probably figure it out. But that's where all your data is stored in this folder. So if you ever need to load motors back in, this is where they're going to end up. If they're not in this folder, RockSim won't see them because RockSim looks into this folder. So let me open up RockSim here. I think I have RockSim Pro open, which is basically the same. So once you're in RockSim, you're going to go to File, and then you can go to Reload Engine Data. And you'll see this same file path right here, users, TSVM, app data, local Apogee components. Since I'm in RockSim Pro, instead of looking in for the RockSim 11 data folder, it's looking in the RockSim Pro 4 data folder. You can actually have it look in the RockSim 11 if you're in RockSim Pro just by changing this file path. So this is where all the motors that RockSim sees are here on the right-hand side. This is everything that's in the folder. I didn't move these motors over. Like if you wanted to, basically the first time, once you move the folders, your engine files into that folder, they're going to show up on this side. And then you have to add them over here, which is basically saying, RockSim, these are the ones that I want to use. So I can use this fake motor, and it adds it to the list. So if I scroll down to the F's under fake motor, I'd probably find it. Yeah, so there it is, fake motor. You're probably asking, what's a fake motor? It serves a purpose, having a fake motor. So this is where you can also, from this screen, you can download engine data. What this does, say you're looking for Estes motors, and you just hit, you type in the name and you do start search. And what it does is it goes out on the web at thrustcurve.org, and it searches, and it requested Estes motors, and it's attempting to download now. Attempting to abort download. I don't know what's going on there. There might be something wrong with the ThrustCurve website, but you can also be more specific. You can say D12, start search. It's still giving me an error. Anyway, maybe it's got to be capitalized. Oh, yeah, it did have to be capitalized. It's important. So it looked there and it found 1D12. Click OK. And then see, it loaded it right here. You can hit cancel. Oh, I didn't want to close that window. So then you can go here and then say download the selected engine data. And it downloads it. I don't think it's working. I'm clicking on it. And let's see, let's go back to import or reload engine data. Let's see, I was hoping it would show up over here. But I already know the Estes D12 is in the database. It's under the Estes file. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, so it's a little bit more complicated than that. but that kind of shows you the idea. So again, this video on the website shows you, how to get to that folder. If you want the raw data, we put it right here on our website. But once you get it in there, you're going to want to sync it up to the thrustcurve.org website so that your database is continuously updated. Okay, that was the holdover question from 2 weeks ago. And then the one that came in via the internet this week was from Rick DeFosses, and his question was, how do you scale a rocket? Like, we can either take a big rocket and scale it down, or we can take a small rocket and scale it up. This rocket right here is the Katana, and if you go to the Apogee website, type in Katana, and you'll see there's two versions. There's the Katana and the Katana Junior. And this is actually what we had to do when the Katana came out first, and we actually scaled it down and came out with the Katana Junior after that. Let me see if I can find an image of the Katana Junior. Nope, not there. But it's a smaller version of the Katana, where the Katana starts out as a 4-inch diameter rocket. The Katana Junior is a BT-70, so it's kind of like, I swear I had a picture. Apparently I don't. Anyway, so if you go to the Katana Junior, come on. I'll go back up here, Katana Junior. Oh, there it is. Okay, so here is the 4-inch version versus the BT-70 version. So you can kind of see the size. And what we did was we took the big version and we had to scale it down. But scaling it up is the same. It's the same process, but I'll show you how to do that. So here I have the Katana. And if I go to the side view, you can see that this is definitely the 4-inch diameter rocket right down here. So how to scale this down? So first, we're going to need a calculator. Let's see, where's my calculator? There's a calculator. So we're going to scale it down to a BT-70. So you're going to say, what size is a BT-70? So again, go to the Apogee website. I can tell you, you just come up here to BT-70. Clear payload to BT-70. Come on, open. And it will give me the inside and outside diameter. So this is 2.217 outside diameter. Let me go just double check that to this one here. Yep, same dimensions, 2.217. So we're going to scale from 4 inches down to 2.217. So we're going to need a calculator to figure out what percentage that is. So we're going to take 2.217 divided by 4, and it equals 0.55425. So we're going to take that number, copy it. That's the number we need to know. So now RockSim has a feature in it that makes scaling quicker. It doesn't make it easier, but it makes it quicker. So go up here to the rocket menu, click on that, and come down here to scale, and we're going to scale by a factor. And what was that factor? It didn't copy it. Where's my calculator again? 0.55425. 0.55425. It won't let me go that deep. Okay, so I just scaled it down. It was that quick, just like that. So now you can see, here's the diameter. It used to be 4 inches. Now it's 2.2168. If you round that up, it's 2.217. So we've just immediately scaled it down. So that was the easy part. Now comes the hard part. So first, what I want to do is I want to do a file save as, because I don't want to overwrite my Katana because this is a new file size. Okay, so we're going to call it the Katana. We can't call it the Junior because we've already got a Junior. So we'll call it the Midget. But I spelled midget wrong. Midget. Okay, so we save that. And the name here, Midge. Okay, so I changed the name so you can see down here it's now called the Katana Midget. Okay, so now the problem with this design is that the components don't scale as nice. So let me give you an example. Let me go back to the Apogee website. Let's type in AT 98 millimeter, which is a 4-inch diameter tube. Come on. Okay, it's 3 point. Yep. That's not what I wanted. I wanted the Apogee version just because I know it's the right size. Okay. Okay, so the outside diameter of the tube of the Katana is 4.000. Now the inside diameter is 3.900. So we're going to go back to our calculator and we're going to multiply that. I'm going to store that. Where's the memory button? Memory plus. Okay, so we're going to multiply that times 3.9. So this is the inside diameter. And our tube on the inside diameter, if we scale it correctly, it's going to be 2.161. So when we go to RockSim and we look at the body tube, that tube right there, then click over here on Design Components, and it highlights it in the parts tree. Then just double click on it. And 2.16, what was that, the actual number? 2.161. What the heck is going on there? So we're close. 1614. Yeah, we're close. So that was actually a pretty good scale. Most times it's different because when you scale down, you have to scale the inside and the outside, but the scale of the wall thickness is not always proportional. So you have to watch that, and that's what I'm trying to point out here is when you're scaling either up or down, it's easy to scale down to the outside diameter, but the inside diameter might be off a little bit. So what I'm saying is when you go to buy a tube to build this rocket that's like a miniature version, it may not have the same inside diameter, which means it may be harder to find a nose cone that fits it. When we did the Katana and the Katana Junior, we actually designed the nose cone so that it is proportional exactly. It was a 5-to-1 ratio ogive. And so the smaller version was still a 5-to-1 ratio ogive. So it's scaled down nicely. So you're going to have to want to check every part in your design to make sure that the parts fit together. So once we got it small, okay, so our next thing is, okay, I got this nose cone. Cancel there. I got this nose cone. If I open up the nose cone, we got to look at the shoulder, and our shoulder is 6.614. Now, if it doesn't scale right, that shoulder might not fit in. Fortunately, on this one, it does, because that is the correct diameter. That's the easy way to do it, is just to scale things down like that, and then just go check each component and tweak them. So let me give you an example. I'll tweak the nose cone. So I'm going to go to PNC 56. So this is the nose cone, the smaller nose cone. And it's got a shoulder length of 2.32. If I go to RockSim, and see, this one is 2.2, where before it was 3.2. So we have to adjust the length to account for the different proportions of that rocket. And so we've got 3.2. I don't have a shoulder diameter here. Outer diameter, shoulder length. I don't have the shoulder diameter, but that would be one thing I'd want to check. So basically, once you change all the dimensions, then you hit OK. And now you have to do this for every component inside the rocket. You know, this parachute right here. Where's that parachute? Okay, so it says a 48-inch parachute. And when we had reduced it down, so 48, and then we took it to a scaled down version, and it says the scaled down version should be 26. Well, 26 is an oddball size. The closest thing is probably a 24-inch parachute. So then you're going to change that outside diameter to 24 inches. And then you have to change the shroud line length to 24 inches. And a 24-inch might not be an octagon shape. See, this is, you know, an 8-sided parachute. And then you have to change it to a 6-sided, change the count of the lines to 6 as well. So there's a lot of little bit of tweaking every part in the rocket to match what you can actually buy and build that rocket to. So that is scaling a rocket. Hopefully that answers your question, Rick. And it's the same with going up versus coming down. Scaling up is in bigger, scaling down is making it smaller, like I just did here. It's the same process. Terry Wheelock wants square tubes. Brian says he's from South Bend, Indiana. I did get the Kestrel from your site this week. Well, great. I was just playing with the Kestrel rocket this morning because I was making a video on the new features of RockSim Pro. And I was just using that as the example because it was the first thing that popped up. Okay, Rob's Rocketry says, hi, Tim. What are some ways that you can lower the speed at deployment in the sim? Okay, so this is a very good question. So let me see here what this diameter of this tube is. See, it started out as a 54. And now it's a 1.25, and that's not a correct engine diameter for a rocket. So I'm going to go to the database, choose from the database. I'll choose this one right here. This is a 29 millimeter motor mount tube. And we'll make the length. I think we sell them as 7 inches. Okay, and it's a 29 millimeter. That's a big motor. You can make it. You can use 24, but let's start with a 29. And I'll click OK. Okay, so that's, again, I had to tweak that motor mount diameter, and it's no longer a 54. We need to change that to a 29. Click OK. Okay, so now it says 29 millimeter. And we're going to go do a launch, and I'll choose an engine. And I'll say F27, and we'll make it an 8-second delay. Click OK, flight events. This is now a 24-inch parachute. And we'll say deploy at an altitude, let's call it 500 feet. And this other one must be our drogue parachute. And let's deploy that at Apogee. And let's say the starting state, we're on a 60-inch long launch guide. And we're launching 13 degrees. And imagine this is a compass where north is at the top, east is to the right, south is down here. So we're kind of southeast. Under launch conditions, I'm not sure where that launch site is. We'll call it Cloudbusters number 2 because I know where this site is. It's in a nice location in the mountains. And we'll go flight profile. And let's just look at the flight and just like gauge the flight to where we're starting. And then we'll adjust the deployment speed. Okay, so here's our rocket sitting on the pad. And it's right off the corner of this highway. I wanted it over here in the grass, but we'll launch from right there. So let me make this screen bigger for you. Okay, so the rocket is sitting right there, kind of in the middle, and when we launch it, oh boy, it's only going to go for 3.88 seconds. Oh, something is definitely wrong. You see that it did not go very long. Let's figure that out. It only went a maximum of 33 feet. So something's wrong here. Oh, here we go. It's the mass. See over here, it says the mass is 2,090 grams. Well, again, when we scaled this rocket, the Katana, which was 4 inches in diameter, down to 2.2 inches in diameter, somehow the weight stayed the same. And if you look at it, it says user specified, which means there's been a mass override applied to this rocket. So if I come here to the mass override tab, and there's this checkbox that says use these values for all the simulations. So it's using a sustainer that weighs over 2,000 grams, 2 kilograms. So this is a heavy rocket. So I'm going to uncheck that. And when I do that, our mass dropped from 2,000 down to 728. That's more reasonable, okay? So I'm going to rerun the simulation, prepare for launch, then go to flight profile, and let's see this one. Again, we're still in that same entryway of this, whatever this is, where the nice field is. And when we launch it, this time we're going to be 24 seconds in the air. So the rocket takes off, it goes up, it's coasting over, arcing over, and at this point, the parachute came out. So I don't know if you saw the rocket adjust itself when the parachute came out. Let me back it up a little bit. So see the rocket right here. What we're doing is we're looking at a close-up of what's going on right here. So this is kind of called the mini view because we want to see this trajectory because that's the important part. But we also want to see what's going on with the rocket. So sometimes if you zoom too close in on the rocket, then you can't see what's going on with the trajectory of the rocket. So I like to zoom out. We can see a parachute here that's popped out. And we're at an altitude of 514 feet. And I think we set our main parachute to come out at 500 feet. So, yep, yeah, did you see the size of the parachute change? We had the drogue shoot out, and then the main chute came out. It came out really quick because our rocket didn't go very high. Now, this rocket still seems to be very heavy. It's better than what it was, but certainly still too heavy. Oops. Okay, so I'm looking at that trajectory. This trajectory is not a good trajectory. Okay, so why do I say that? I'm looking at this red dot right here. that red, why does it do that? This red dot is our apogee point. So it marks on the trajectory our apogee. And the color red signifies bad, not good. If it was good, it's going to be green. So basically our rocket, how do I know it's what's going on? If I display the weathercocking cone, I want to see this apogee point inside of this cone here. See this cone going up? I want this inside that cone, and we're on the outside. So that tells me that this is not technically a good launch. Something that I'd want to adjust somehow. And it's landing down here next to this building, which is okay if it didn't, as long as it didn't land on the building, because that makes it a little harder to retrieve. So let me look at the velocity at deployment. So our velocity at deployment is actually not too bad. It's 14 miles per hour. But if you wanted to get it lower, what would you have to do? And basically what we're going to have to do is change the trajectory. Because if you want to slow it down, where is the slowest point in the rocket's flight? And it's at apogee, but the rocket, and in the case of this rocket, it was actually going horizontal, and it had horizontal velocity, even though it didn't have any vertical velocity, because that's the definition of an apogee point, is zero vertical velocity. It's at that point, it's not going up and it's not going down. But this rocket was actually going sideways. So to slow it down, what we need to do is to make sure that the rocket is pointed up, so that when it hits apogee, it doesn't have any horizontal velocity and it doesn't have any vertical velocity. So what we're going to have to do is to change the launch angle. And that's pretty much the only thing that we can do. So we're going to go back here to the flight events, or the starting state. Click on that. Right now we're launching at 13 degrees from vertical. So let's make this 5 degrees from vertical and then redo it. Okay, and I'm going to zoom out. Man, oh man, I hit the Windows button and something happens. So when we launch it, okay, the rocket is doing really nice right now. Okay, so let's pause it right there. So you see the green dot, that means we're in the weathercocking cone. So that's good. And it comes down before it landed over here. Now it's closer here. So we're actually making progress. Let's go back to the simulations right here. And our velocity at deployment came down from about 15 miles an hour down to 8.9. So about 9 miles per hour. So we did slow it down by changing the launch angle. I'll show you a neat feature. This is one of the new features in RockSim Pro, is you can compare simulations. So if you highlight both of them, and then you click on the 2D flight profile or the 3D flight profile, and you launch this, and you'll see now there's actually 2 rockets sitting on the same pad. One of them is canted over further than the other one. So I think the first one was like about 13 degrees, and now we're at 5 degrees. And you can launch both rockets at the same time by hitting the launch button. And you can see they split off. They went on different trajectories. Let me zoom out so you can see that. So here is the one that was pointed more straight up. This one was the one that was arced over. And you can see the trajectories and how they are different on one screen. So this makes it really easy to compare apples to apples what's going on with these 2 flights. And this is, and that's what we want to do when we're doing these simulations, is make comparisons. You start out, where are you right now? It's kind of like you're on a map and you want to get to New York City. So where are you starting from? So this is the lay of the land. And then you go in one direction and you can go in another direction, and which one is going to get you closer to where your destination is. So making comparisons, it's what it's all about. And that's what this feature does, is it allows you to make these comparisons. And you, again, this is three-dimensional, so you can look at it in various ways, see what's going on. You can see that once the parachute opens up, if I look at it from the top down, once the parachute opens, they both follow the same path, and that gives us an indication of which direction the wind is going. So it's coming out of the west, blowing towards the east. So that is how to adjust the deployment velocity of the rocket. And it's basically, you're working with the trajectory. So you have to alter your trajectory to zero out as close as possible to zero the horizontal velocity. Because we know at Apogee, the vertical velocity is going to be zero. And that's where we want our parachute to come out, is right there at Apogee. And we also should have deployed at Apogee. Stuart LaFon says, hey, Tim, I have a Bullet Bobby XXL coming from Launch Lab, and they have an open rocket file, but no RockSim file. Can I get it in a RockSim without doing all the components manually? RockSim does not natively import open rocket files. So there's two options. One is, like he said, put all the components in manually. The other option is, I believe in OpenRocket, you can export out into RockSim format. There might be a third option. Let's see. Let's go to the internet and let's search for Bullet Bobby RockSim file. Videos of the Bullet Bobby RockSim file. There's the 7-inch. Let's open up a new tab. I'm seeing if somebody has one. The Rocketry Forum. Let's search here. I'm not seeing. Oh, this is the Rocketry Forum. I'm going to go to Rocket Reviews. Rocket Loans, rocketreviews.com. Hit search. And it gives me all that crap. Bullet Bobby, Launch Lab, sitemap. See if they have a RockSim file here. It's a kit. No, so many ads. Doesn't do me any good. Buy the Bullet Bobby. So that's what it looks like. 7 inches in diameter, 7.5 inches in diameter. Tell me how long it is. Does it give me any files for it? Afterpay. No. Yeah, so that's your only options, is to either put it into RockSim or see if OpenRocket has an export. Purple Haze says, I had the motor problem and the video and Brandon were a great help. So great. I'm glad to hear that, David. I have never found a new motor with the web update. Yeah, because there hasn't been any new motors released in a while. Right before we added this feature in RockSim to automatically update the motor files because the manufacturers were putting out motors like left and right. And then as soon as we put that feature into RockSim, they stopped making different motors. Okay. So that's all the questions we've got. What time is it? We still got 10 minutes. Oh, I discovered something new today. Let me open up a different design. The Egg Storminator rocket. Let's open that. I haven't opened that one in a while. Xavier changes? No. Okay, so this is the Egg Storminator rocket. And I do have some news about the Egg Storminator rocket. If you go on the Apogee website and you type in Egg Storminator, the news is we are discontinuing this kit, and we only have one of them left in stock. And I can see that right here. It says only one left in stock. So when this kit sells out, that's it. So if you want to buy a kit before it goes out of stock, today might be the last day. And we're going to announce that on Tuesday as well, although you're getting your news here first. This kit and the Starlift Megalander. This kit right here. This one has 6 units in stock. This one we're also going to be discontinuing. The reason is they're not selling as well as we'd like. This one is very cool, and I hate to take this one out of inventory. It's a lander, so it lands upright. And it does pretty good. You know, it's designed to land upright, but it doesn't always land up. It's like those lunar landers that people have been sending to the moon. They're designed to land upright, yet they're falling over. And this has about the same success ratio. It's pretty good, but not perfect. It has a wide stance, and so that helps to get it to land upright. But one of the things that I discovered, let me open up a new Chrome window. New window. I don't care what the name of the window is. Where's the plus button? There it is. Okay. What goes on here? I want to go to RockSim.com because I want to get the coordinates of this launch site. So if you ever want to know what the coordinates of a launch site are, the easiest way to find them is to go to our launch visualizer at RockSim.com. And you're going to log in. If you don't have an account, just make one. You can make a new account right down here. But I already got an account, so I'm going to sign in. And then I'm going to go here to launch sites. Click on that. And if I go to choose launch site, I'm going to go to this Cloudbusters site. This is the site that we were using previously today. So again, remember when we launched, our launch pad was right there. And I want it to be in this nice green field somewhere. So if I had to choose a launch site, I don't know what this is right here. It looks like some kind of corral for animals. But parking area is right here. There's parking. It looks by this barn. So if I was to park my car here, where would I want to launch from? And I'd probably say I'd like to launch right there. So you just double click on the screen, and then you come down here to confirm launch site. And when you do that, what the launch visualizer does is it locks in the latitude, the longitude, and the altitude coordinates for that dot. And so I'm going to take those coordinates and I'm going to put them into RockSim Pro. And to do that, we're going to go to, let me make this a little skinnier so that I can see these numbers right here. I'm going to go to prepare for launch under launch conditions. And then I'm going to choose a site. And this was Cloudbusters number 2. And I know those coordinates right here don't match the ones over here because we were launching close to the road and I want to move it out. So here are the new latitude and longitude coordinates. So I'm going to, oops, Control Z. I just moved a number. When I moved that number, it changed. I lost my spot. I don't know where this is. So 73 degrees is definitely not it. That's Alaska. Let me go back here to choose launch site. Cloudbusters number 2, okay. And then zoom in. Okay, so there's my field. And I want to put the launch pad right there. Confirm launch site. Oh, it should have been 37. So highlight this number right here without changing it. Do a copy. So that's 32.42. Come over here and paste it. I'm going to do the same thing with this one right here. Copy it, paste it, and then I want to go, this right here is the landing zone, altitude at the landing zone. So this is above sea level. So I want to copy this. This is in the mountains, so that's why it's so high up. And my landing zone altitude will be the same as the altitude that we're launching from. Oops. Copy V. And then I'm going to save this launch site. And do we want to replace it? I'm going to say yes. Okay, the current site is successfully saved. Let's go do a quick launch. So I'm going to choose an engine. F25, and I don't really care what the delay is. Click OK. Parachute is at maximum ejection delay, starting state. 5 degrees to the southeast. I think that'll be okay. Okay, so now we're going to do flight profile, and now we want to see if we got the launch location where we want it. Okay, yes, I hope. Let's zoom out. This one image right here doesn't want to load right. It's a low resolution image compared to down here, but we put the launch pad right there, which is very close to the dot over here. If you compare these two images, this is Google Earth, and these images are from a company called MapTyler. Typically, the Google Earth has better maps, better resolution, and that's why in RockSim Pro we use those maps rather than the ones from MapTyler. On the launch visualizer, since we have so many more people that use it because it's on the internet, we have to keep our costs down because I have to pay for the maps. So we use the cheap maps here. They're good, but the better ones are here. But for some reason, this one's not loading well. The one thing that I wanted to show you that I learned earlier today is if you can't find your rocket, hit the home button. Okay, so you notice that the base of the launch pad is below the ground level. And I was trying to figure out how to raise up the pad so that it's not below the ground. And what you have to do is come in here, go to launch, and you're going to go to the launch conditions. And the altitude here, we're going to bump this altitude up. So instead of launching from 6596, I'm going to bump it up like 2 feet or 3 feet. Let's bump it up 3 feet and see what happens. So 6599. Now my landing zone altitude, I want to leave the same number. Because if you raise the launch site and you raise the landing zone site, you're basically moving the surface of the Earth up. And I don't want to do that. I want to just leave the surface of the Earth where it was. And then we'll go flight profile. And hopefully the launch pad will be visible now. See, there it is. Now the launch pad is visible above the ground. Let me zoom out. And so you can see that it is above the ground. So if you ever, I just learned this today. I'm still learning stuff. I had to play around. I was raising the altitude of the rocket launched from and raising the ground level. And the launch pad kept staying below the ground, and I couldn't figure that out. And then it finally dawned on me, oh, leave the landing zone altitude where it is. So why would you change your launch altitude? And the answer is, I can come over here and I go to my launch conditions. Let's say we want to launch our rocket from a balloon that's 1,000 feet above the ground. So now I can come over here and say, let's make this 7,599. And then we hit flight profile. And now we'll see the rocket. Again, it's on the launch pad. I can't change that, but, oops, I lost the rocket. Let me go here to this view and find the rocket. So our rocket, oops, it was this dot in the sky. I lost the rocket again. There it is right there. Let me zoom in. But if I look at it, our rocket is now in the sky. Let me zoom out. And the maps are still loading back here. But if I zoom around, you can see it's kind of hovering in the sky. But it's over, if I look straight down, it's over the same spot where we started from. But it's just now 1,000 feet up. So if you wanted to run a simulation where your rocket is launched above the surface of the Earth, like from a balloon, this is how you do it. Okay, Guppy Guy says, how do I add credits into the launch visualizer? And thanks for the credits. Okay, so in the launch visualizer, I don't know if I can do it from my account because I have a special account. But what you're going to do is you're going to go to Profile, and it shows you my available credits right here. I think if we go here, okay, so you're going to click on that home button. It's going to take you here, and then you're going to come down to Plans, click on Plans, and it's going to bring you down here to these membership plans. So if you've never used it before, you're going to be in the free demo, which means you're not logged in. You don't have an account. If you log in and create a basic membership, it's still free, but it gives you access to more things. So I can display the weather cocking cone. I can share the results on social media. I can change the pressure, temperature, and humidity. I wonder if I can change the launch site. Get flight data, display, see ground test, share. So you can use up to a G motor in the free plan. But if you want to use H and larger, you got to go to the premium membership. Yeah, so to change the altitude of the launch, you got to be in the premium membership. Launch site selector. So on the free one, you can change your launch location. I didn't know if you could do that or not, but I guess you can. So anyway, to get more credits, go to Pay Now. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, since I already have an account, I'm going to select the booster subscription. Then you're going to come down here to, buy additional credits. So you're going to select that. And for $7, you're going to get 10,000 credits. And that's a lot of credits because when I launch, I'm only using like 50 at a time. So that's going to give you a couple. And these booster credits, they don't expire. So they roll over month after month because you paid for them. Then you just proceed to payment, and then that's how you add them. So again, hit the home button, then go to plans, and then Pay Now. And then follow the prompts to add more. See, my plan, I already got the premium plan, so that's why it's not showing it for me. Terry Wheelock says, can RockSim design a robot rocket? Probably not. Depends on what you mean by what a robot rocket looks like. But if it has 2 legs, well, then no. All right, so we're after 3 o'clock, so it is time to leave. For right now, we are scheduled for Friday again. So 14 and 7 is the 21st. I think we'll still be here. I'm not planning on going anywhere. But my schedule is going to change, so we're going to move. But I think my schedule for next week is still the same. So thank you for coming. I really appreciate you being here. It's been a lot of fun. We talked about some cool things today. Scaling rockets up. We talked about, what else did we talk about? We talked about the bullet bobby. We talked about loading engines. And changing your launch altitude, getting the launch pad out of the Earth. That was, glad I figured that out because it was driving me nuts. So yeah, it was good stuff. So I'm going to give you a countdown and we'll launch out of here. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.